Okay, so this is practice test one, the first essay. I'm not going to spend too much time going over it because you can go to the College Board and pick it up here. This is an essay by Jimmy Carter. It's forward to the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, Seasons of Life and Land, Photographic Journey, whatever, where our job is to read this essay and analyze it according to certain rhetorical techniques used and their effectiveness. So we're looking for consider how Jimmy Carter uses evidence to support his claims, reasoning to develop ideas and to connect to claims and evidence, stylistic or persuasive elements, in other words, our rhetorical techniques, word choice, appeals to emotion, to add power to the ideas expressed. So again, that's the same in all these essays, and again, these essays are going away, but this is effective rhetorical analysis, so it's a worthy exercise. And our job is to write an essay in which the student explains how Jimmy Carter builds an argument to persuade his audience that the refuge should not be developed for industry. Okay. So analyze how he uses one or more of the features listed above in the box or features of your own, how he uses them to strengthen the logic and persuasiveness of his argument. Be sure your analysis focus on the most relevant features of the passage. Now, that's what we're supposed to do here, but that's not what we're being measured on. What we can be measured on are three things. The first one we're going to be measured on, do we understand the passage? So it's a reading component to your grade. Did you understand it? Okay, the next thing is your analysis. Okay, so can you do effective and rhetorical analysis, which is this stuff? So essentially, your job that they give you here is only being measured in the second category. And the third category, and these are all equal, 4 points each, is if you show effective writing ability. And that means, are you using language fluently and effectively? Are you using grammar correctly, and so on and so forth? Are your sentences varied and persuasive unto themselves with your language choice? So you're being measured not on just your analysis, but on your ability to show reading comprehension, your rhetorical analysis, and your ability to write effectively. Let's go to student LTS Lit. I think that's what it is. Essay here. Okay. Now, I'm going to assume that you've read the essay from Jimmy Carter, so we're going to go straight into this. And let's see what we got here. Jimmy Carter is one, I'm just going to read out loud and think out loud, and that way we'll get through it more quickly. Jimmy Carter is one of the former presidents of the United States of America. Okay, that gives us background who he is. I'm good on that. Let me draw on this here. Okay, cool. As an individual in such position, Carter oversaw the vast lands the U.S. held, and this included the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Okay, he does talk about that. Despite the economic opportunities of the land, Carter argues for the land to be untouched through nationalistic diction. It's an interesting claim. Personal anecdotes, very good. Historical context and the illogical reasoning for establishing industries in the region. Now, I saw this when I did an eyeball on the illogical reasoning. One of my concerns is, okay, if you're going to claim that he uses, it's a little odd to say that he uses illogical reasoning. What you're going to say, he argues for the land to be untouched through the illogical reasoning for. I'd rather state this more directly. It's kind of backwards. So that's just one thing I saw there. That's not directly clear, but I think the student uses this term illogical reasoning, and we'll see if that is actually explained. The introduction could tell us a little bit more about. This tells us who he is, what his past was. It tells us his arguments, the rhetorical analysis, but it doesn't show anything about the reading itself. You might want to add a little bit more. Remember, you're being measured on your understanding of the reading. So bring that in and just tell us a little bit more about what he does here. Carter starts his argument with a grand description of what the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is. Okay, that's doing that. The nationalistic diction he uses to describe the locations of America's true lands, blah, 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 American Serengeti, so such as comma, and symbol national are all, okay, the diction are, the diction is, or these are details. The national uses such as blah, blah, blah. Now, that's okay. I see what's going on here. Such as, we'll get to such as. So here are the examples. These are all important details, all right? I'm going to leave this here because just understand how I fumbled on that. I'm thinking diction is as a reader, and then I have to go back and kind of see it again. And we got the stray quotation mark there, which also throws me off a little bit. This is the importance of punctuation and clean writing. And I mean clean writing, I mean by your handwriting in the way you type it as well. You want to be clean in this because then the reader is just taking your information in more fluidly. The diction resonates with the Americans as it no longer as it is no longer a foreign, disconnected land, but rather something personal and prideful to Americans. I have a hard time with that. I think this diction resonates. Maybe it does or it doesn't. We're not worried about what the Americans think it is. We're worried about the way Carter uses it. So he uses the diction to resonate with Americans, to see Alaska is no longer a foreign, disconnected land. Okay, and if this is evidence in the text, that's cool. I'm not sure where it is. You might bring an example. Carter successfully conveys that it is part of everyone's duty as an American to safeguard the. Okay, so that's good. So it says what he does. Don't talk about what the audience responded to because we don't know. Tell us what he does. Blah 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 to safeguard the refuge. Okay, let's move. Oops, sorry, back here. The majority of the article is about a personal anecdote. I think I don't remember. It's just one. So, and I don't think he's like are all the words really just about that anecdote? I think you're saying that he emphasizes that personal anecdote. And this is a rhetorical technique, is to bring in his experiences. Look, I'm Jimmy Carter. This is what I did. I experienced this. Okay, and that's good. But I have a hard time with the way that's worded there. He describes the landscape and ecosystem's elegance and brilliant, blah, 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 blah. Good examples, because your job is to bring in examples, not too many of them, however, and also to paraphrase is another way to show your reading comprehension. In a matter of minutes, the sweep of thunder before blah, blah, blah. This might be a little bit long, this quote, but, okay, cool. The first excerpt is significant because Carter frames the landscape as a work of art. This is excellent. Great job. The different colors and this is good literary analysis. So I really like this compared to masterful artwork. The second excerpt is mentioned by Carter, or is mentioned. So I don't like that. I just stumble on that. That's passive. It is mentioned. Carter mentions. Use active voice, please. Active voice. So you can attach a sense of value, a family, blah, blah. It's a reminder that it's a home of thousands of animals that are living and breeding. The picture Carter paints of the Arctic, so we're back to the picture. So you're being consistent with that. That's good. There's one that's filled with art, life. Is it filled with art? I guess it was. I'm not sure. Then proceeds to contrast this with the image of an industrial. Right. Now this is a big idea here. So I'm wondering if this shouldn't be in a different paragraph, but your point is he paints this picture and then he paints a picture also of pipelines and drilling rigs and industrial facilities, okay? And the heavy contrast. Don't make little mistakes, okay? Between the two emphasizes and enhances the utmost importance of protecting the region. Okay, that's a good claim. You backed up the claim. There might be a little bit more here you could do. And again, that might be a full paragraph unto itself. I'm not really sure. Notice one thing here, however. Oh yeah, these typos. You want to give yourself on an AP test or on a standardized test, you want to give yourselves a few minutes to go back and fix your typos because it makes the reader stumble. And you're being measured by teachers who are all totally OCD about language and obsessed with it. So they're going to go, oh God, the student said contract when it should say contrast, right? So just be careful about that. Go back and fix that. Next, Carter moves to a different approach, the bipartisanship of keeping the land protected. Okay, this is it's a little bit awkward here. It might be a fragment. I'm not sure. The different approach. Okay, it kind of works. He mentions that both Republican and Democrat presidents recognize the value of the land, and it isn't. I just like this to be stated more directly. That's all. By establishing this bipartisan resolution, I don't know if it's a resolution, but by maybe solution, he solidifies the motives as being more transparent. I don't get that, and I think you're going to have a hard time providing evidence for his motives being transparent and pure. I think I know what you're saying, that by taking on a bipartisan approach and bringing in examples of he's a Democrat, Republicans agree with me, I guess that makes him more transparent and pure. But again, that's a pretty strong claim. Carter also mentions the American people opposed past attempts to open the region to oil drilling. He mentions, so this is a historical thing you said above. He mentions the piece of information in order. This piece, avoid this. You just go on, just say it, keep saying avoid it. Don't start a sentence or make it's called a vague pronoun reference, okay? Get rid of that word. Information. In order to convey the reinforce that it is not only politicians' will to keep the region closed, but it is large Americans' will as well. Okay, that's good. If you did that, you might give an example of that as well, okay? Because remember, you got to demonstrate your reading and focusing on the important parts of the text. He successfully placed his argument in solidarity with the American people in their will by using historical context. Yeah, remember, we're not talking about his ability to place it with solidarity with the people, but this is a rhetorical technique. So I'm having a little trouble with this leap of faith. You're saying that how he actually impacts the American people, as opposed to how he goes about trying to impact them, which is our job here. Lastly, one of his arguments against the development industries within land was the weight of losses versus the gains. Okay, so okay. Um, I don't know if losses and gains have weight, but I get what you're saying. Carter states the Arctic refuge might provide 1 to 2% of the oil, blah blah blah. He understands that the number up to 1 to 2% is a small number. Okay, so this is his logos, right? He's saying that now this is the illogical thinking. I think you need to say that this is illogical, and so that's why I stumbled over the word illogical thinking. So you might want to kind of rethink the way you express that here, and then you double it up here. What he's doing is he's trying to create a logical fallacy in the counter argument that he's presenting. That hey, it's only going to add 2%, and so you're making a bit of a leap of faith there. I think you're drawing a large conclusion from one piece of evidence that he offers us. Okay. Furthermore, he provides a replacement solution in the place of it, so it does not seem like he was missing on oil. Okay. All right. So he presents a problem. So this is what he's doing. This is a technique, right? You say, here's the problem, and then here's a solution. And maybe you might say, my opponents say blah blah blah, attack that, and I present the problem, how I'm minimizing that problem. They're saying we don't need the oil, and then I'm giving a solution to it. That's good. That's effective reasoning, effective persuasion. Carter ties together the Arctic and the wildlife would be the greatest gift. In conclusion, this is not a sentence. I mean, it is, but this is kind of hanging there for me. Okay. You might say how he does it. So make sure you're making that connection. Always, we're looking at what he does and how he does it, and its impact, not its impact on people, but its impact as a persuasion. In conclusion, he successfully argues his position by rousing up nationalism through his diction. Okay, that's cool. Establishing an intimate experience through his personal anecdotes. Utilizing historical context of the wills of politics isn't. Okay, it works. It's English. It's nothing grammatically incorrect. It's a little bit awkward to me. And the American people, and highlighting the logical inconsistencies of opening up industries within the wilderness. Okay, very good now. So LTS lit, if that's what I'm reading on your username. Great job on this. I really think it is. I have a hard time giving it 4s because you got just a few grammatical mistakes in there. Some of the usage is a little bit awkward to me. So on the writing side, 3.5, 4. It's not a 4, okay, but it's good. Your language is varied. Your language is effective. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward to me. On the analysis, my one big problem is that the way you didn't always connect it, and you kind of talked about how it had an impact on people that we don't know. So that's not analysis of the text itself. You're drawing in something beyond the text because we have no idea how he actually persuaded people or not. We're looking at how does he go about persuading people. That's what we're after here. And on the reading comprehension side, you clearly understood the text, right? I think that little things like you said a personal anecdote. I don't know if there was one. I have to go back to it, but when I read that, I'm just kind of struck by maybe because you tell a story, you've seen about the newborn calves and all that kind of stuff. I think you missed something there. It's not just the anecdote. The anecdote is to create, like you said, though, you said it's like a mosaic, right? He's building an image in the reader. You could have gone a little bit further on that. That might have been made it just a little more effective, your analysis there. And I do have a little bit of problem with the illogical reasoning as you said it, because it's not. He says here's the thing. He's the one making the point. So what he's doing, he's pointing out to an illogic in the idea that people say, well, we need the oil. He said, no, it only provides 2% of the oil. So whether that's a logic or not, I'm not sure. I don't see it. You don't really explain it to me. So, and I think Carter himself has a little bit of a problem with that because his proposal, but you went through, this is what he does, and so we're going to analyze his proposal here. His proposal to make up for that lost oil supply, he does present. He didn't say what it was he did, so you might have done that. That's an important detail if you're going to bring in that point. Okay, hope this helps. Okay, good luck.